We are going to get started by prepping our surface to paint. So put the wood round out, place your winter wishes on top of it, center it really nicely, and then trace around the inside circle on the winter wishes cutout, and that will be the border for you to paint on. Then we are going to take our winter wishes cutout and put it on top of our plaid piece of paper, center it on there, grab a pencil, trace around the outside, and then cut out that circle. And when you're cutting the circle out, go a little bit on the inside of the circle. This is just going to make it easier to line up and make sure you don't have any paper sticking outside of your winter wishes cutout when we put everything together. Next, we're going to paint the back wood round piece. So take your blue paint and a foam brush and apply paint on the wood round surface. And you only have to go as far as that line you drew on the wood round. So make sure to do the top and the sides, and then this might take 2 to 3 coats to get a nice even coat of blue paint. Then we are going to move on to painting the top of the winter wishes cutout. This is going to be the longest part of the project. This paint is nice and glossy, but it is very thin and transparent. So paint the surface, let it dry, and then you'll have to do multiple coats of paint to get a nice thick white look. When you're painting this, try and just stay on the top, and then you can avoid the snowflakes. You don't have to paint those because we are going to cover those up with paper. So just take your time, let it dry between coats until you get a nice white coat. Next up, we are going to lay everything out on the board so you can see what it looks like. Plug your hot glue gun in, get that ready. And then we are going to take the piece of paper, center it nicely on the wood round, and we are going to adhere it to the board with glossy accents. To do this, I held down half of my paper, folded up the other half of paper, applied glossy accents down, and then I did the same with the other half. This way it was held in place as I applied the glue, and then once everything was glued down, I just ran my hands over it to adhere it nicely to the board. Next up is adhering the paper snowflakes to the winter wishes cutout. So the first thing I want you to do is to lay out all of your snowflakes and make sure you have them all in the correct spaces and positioned correctly on the MDF cutout. Then you're going to take your glossy accents, put little dabs of glue, just nice little dots, onto the MDF snowflakes, and then place your paper on top and push it down. If you do have run out, glossy accents does dry clear. It's a little bit shiny, but it's nice and clear, so nobody should notice. Then we are going to take the winter wishes cutout and adhere it to the wood round with hot glue. Since hot glue dries so fast, I focused my hot glue just on the outside circle on the back of the winter wishes. I didn't put any adhesive on the winter wishes words, just on the circle, and then I placed it down and pushed it down into place. Next, we are going to work on adding the finishing pieces. So lay your greenery out on the board, and then grab your burlap ribbon. That's what we're going to use to create a bow. To create the bow, you are going to find the center of the ribbon, and then you're going to create a loop on one side and a loop on the other side, and it gives you a nice and simple 2-looped bow. Then grab your jute, go from the front, wrap it around to the back, and then double knot it in place, and that is going to hold your bow together. And then you'll trim off those long ends of jute. And the last step is to take our hot glue and put everything in place. So I hot glued the greenery right along the edge of where the winter wishes cutout lines up with the background wood round. I applied some hot glue, put my greenery down, and then I held it in place a little bit just to make sure it stayed. Then I did the same thing with the other side. I aligned them right next to each other so there wasn't any little gap in the middle. Put my greenery in it, held it down so it stayed, and then finally I applied a little dab of glue on the back of the bow and stuck that right in the middle where the 2 greenery ends met. And then you are ready to display your winter wishes round.